Hello and welcome to this lecture working with validators, AF messages and AF message components. Okay, so we'll take our student and teacher example for demonstrating this. I will go to our student teacher application and we will go to our student form page. So in this form we will add some validation to our input text. Okay, for adding validation into this roll number input text, we will go to our components. We'll only search for valid. So these are our validation components that are available. You can apply validation on byte length. On date restriction, you can just if you are using input date component, then you can restrict to allow some date range. We have this date time range, double range. These are the two JSF core and ADFSs. We have to use ADFSs components. Then we have this validation length, validation long range, and validate regular expression. So here we need our regular expression. So I will choose our ADFSs regular expression. I will drag it inside our input text. And here we can apply our regular expression pattern. So inside pattern you have to write what you want to allow. So in property window I will write my regular expression. I want to allow 0 to 9 characters and any number of occurrence. So I will add star here. You can also Google it based on your requirement what pattern you should configure. And here we have message detail no match, means if this pattern is not matching, then what message it should display. So here we have to write our message that please enter only numbers. So here we are not allowing any other characters rather than 0 to 9 where this message will be displayed. So for displaying this message we have to use one AF message component. We can search for message. We have this ADFSs message, okay, and ADFSs messages. So these are the two different components. I will show you how to use both components. First I will show AF message component. Drag it wherever you want to display this message. So I will drag after our input text. So here we have to apply one configuration. There is message type property. We will select error because we want to display error message. If this is only for information, you can select info or other warning message. I will just select error message. So when you select this as error message, user cannot navigate to different page without correcting this error. If you say this message type is info or warning, user can allow to navigate to the next page. Okay. So now we will choose our for property. So this property says that this message we are using for this input text. So we'll go to our for property, click on this setting icon, edit, and we want to use that message for our input text. That's our roll number. So we'll add our ID of that component. The ID is IT3. So we'll select this component and click OK. So it will automatically add ID of this input text. You can also write manually here, and if you don't want to display this message, you can also hard code here your message. Okay. If we don't supply any message here, it will display this message from the input text. Okay, now we will run our project and see how it works. So as you can see, our page is loaded now. I will select student and click on next. I will choose show form, and we have applied validation into roll number. So I will add any other characters than the numbers. I will add chunk characters and hit enter. So it will display our message that please enter only numbers. Let's say I want to display this message beside this roll number. So we can do one thing. I can surround these two items with one horizontal pentacle layout. I will select these two, F message and input text. and we'll surround it with one panel group layout, and we'll give layout as horizontal, so it will display horizontally. Now just refresh your page and give any junk characters, hit enter. So you can see it is now displaying horizontally side by side. Now let's say we enter only numeric data, then it will not display that error, and it will allow us to go to the next page. And if we have any error in this, then it will not allow you to go to the next page. We'll see how to align this and how to display it good with CSS when we move to our CSS part. Now let's say we have some another validation like email. Let's say we want to accept a valid email address, then we can also use this regular expression. I will search for it, and from the ADF basis we will select valid regular expression, the same we are using inside our email. And the pattern, you can easily search it online, like email validation pattern, Ajax. You can copy that pattern and directly paste it here in pattern, and message will display that please enter valid email. So you can see our changes are coming like this here. Now we'll go to our page and just refresh our page. Now we'll give invalid email and hit tab key or enter key, so it will display our message. But here it is not displaying because we haven't drag and drop our AF message component, so it will display in pop-up that please enter valid email address. And here in roll number we have added our AF message, so it will display that inside our AF message for roll number. And here it will display in pop-up window. So let's say we want to display this message inline on our page like we did for roll number. Again we have to use our AF message component. So I will choose this and drag it wherever we want to display this message. I will place this after our email address. This message we want to display this email address validation, so I will choose this ID, copy it and paste it inside for property of this AF messages. Save it and just refresh your page. And here we will add any junk character, hit tab key, so it will display inline message on the page. So the usage of this AF message component is you can use it to display your messages inline. So this AF message component you can use for each and every input text individually. Now let's say you want to display one common message at the top or at the bottom rather than showing individual messages. For that requirement you can use AF messages. So we'll go to our AF messages, search for AF messages component, and you can drag it wherever you want to display your common message. So I will drag it at the top after this button, and this is our common AF messages. And here we choose inline equal to 2 so that it will display in our page, otherwise it will display as a pop-up, and in message window it will automatically take it from our validations. Now I will go to our page and just refresh our page, and we'll add some invalid characters here, hit enter. So as you can see it is still taking our this AF message component. Now I will just comment out these AF messages because now we are displaying it at the top. We'll go to our AF messages. So here we have added AF messages with inline property equal to true. Now we will refresh our page and we'll add some invalid characters and hit enter. So it will display at the top that please enter only numbers for roll number, and if you enter invalid characters inside email, hit enter, it will display that please enter valid email. So here all other messages of your form will be displayed at the top in single app messages component, and if you want to display it individually, you can use app message component. Okay, if you click on this roll number, it will automatically move your cursor to roll number. If you click email, it will automatically move your cursor to email text. Another good usage of this app message is that if you want to display some of the messages from your backend bin, you can throw it from your bin and those messages will be displayed inside your app messages components. Okay, now we'll try to add some validator. This is Lalji, my surname, and I will choose next. So it is not allowing me to go to next without correcting this error. I will enter some valid roll number and valid email address. Then add something.com, because it is validating with our regular pattern that it should match with some your email address, then at the rate, then your domain name. Now I will click on next, so it will allow you to go to the next page. Okay, let's see one another example. We'll add some invalid character here and we'll try to go to next page. It is not moving. Let's say I click on this add form button. It's not working because it is throwing this error message. Now on your page, let's say some of the buttons are not related to the validation. You want to skip validation and want to execute that button click event. Like if you have any reset button, on that click you want to reset your form. So those type of buttons you can skip validation. For skipping validation, you can use immediate equal to true property on that button. So in this button we'll add that property, immediate equal to true. Now we'll just refresh our page, add some invalid characters and hit hide form. Now you can see it is skipping our validation and it is working. Now let's say we want to move to next, it will show an error. So that's it in this lecture. We'll come back in our next lecture.